Hello, welcome back to the Football Terrace. Thank you very much for tuning in. As always, hit the like button right about now. Make sure you're hitting the subscribe button to the Football Terrace as well. We're here to talk transfers, big news circulating around White Hart Lane and Jose Mourinho's men. Reportedly, a deal is close to being agreed. Could we be on the edge of a massive here we go for Tottenham in relation to Milan Skriniar? Of course, the Inter Milan defender is available this summer for transfer. It would be a massive signing, a massive coup. And does it have, and I'm asking this question now, if Milan leaves Inter Milan and joins Tottenham with Gareth Bale returning, with the signing of Sergio Reguilon, with Doherty going in, Højbjerg, and of course the brilliance of Son and Kane, do we have to now go back and look at Tottenham and start to reassess their season? Should they be considered as guaranteed top four contenders? Should they be favourites over Tottenham, over Chelsea and Man United, respectively, to make it into those positions? It was only 12 months ago, at the start of the 1920 season, that we were speaking of them as potential title challengers with the fourth most valuable squad in the world, Champions League finalists. Are they on their way back? I want to know. Skype lines are now open. We want to hear from you. We're also talking Arsenal and their pursuit of Aouar, Man United for Alex Telles updates we're going to give you as well. But before we go any further, make sure, as we say, you're hitting the like button, you're hitting the share button as well. So important to the Football Terrace that you get this done. A lot of people are shouting yes and saying no. I think if they bring in Skriniar, they have to be looked at as, at the very least, the minimum expectation of any football fan is Tottenham should be heavily involved in the top four race. They should be there or thereabouts. They shouldn't be 5 points, 10 points, 12 points off top four come the end of the season. The squad, World Cup winning goalkeeper, some brilliant defenders with Sergio Reguilon, with Doherty, now with Milan coming in. That's three new members to that back line as an example, and improvements on every single player that they're coming in for. Those three players instantly elevate the squad. Højbjerg, let's see what happens with him. You've got Son and Harry Kane, two of the best attacking players in the world. Forget North London, forget the Premier League, the world, period. You then start throwing in sort of the side dishes into that as well. Gareth Bale joining the club. For me, they have to be looked at as a serious player. No excuses for Jose Mourinho whatsoever, in my opinion. If you disagree, phone up, give us a go. But as far as I'm concerned, I want to know what you're thinking and feel in relation to Arsenal's chasing of, is it Hosim or Osim Aouar? I keep hearing people pronounce it different. However, you know the man I'm talking about. I want to hear from you on that rumor. Anything you want to speak about in relation to Alex Telles, give us a call, or any other transfers out there today that you want to have a conversation about, ask questions about, tell us about information that you've read. Skype lines are open right about now. But before we go any further, please hit the like button. Hitting the like button is so important. It really is. Winter Surfer here, one of our members, says the only reason everyone likes Skriniar is because of FIFA 20. I mean, he's decent. I was looking at his statistical outputs earlier as a defender. So this is the last 5 years in Serie A, 64% defensive duels won. Interestingly, only 50% of aerial duels won. He wins 56% of his loose ball duels that he goes for. Slide tackle success is at 43%. 5.4 interceptions per game, which I think is very good. This is what's interesting. Losses of the ball, only 5.4 times in a game on average, and with 55% of them being in his own half, which I think is very interesting, because a lot of players lose the ball now more than they used to because teams play it from the back more. So that is interesting as well. I want to kind of do some comparisons of that to some other players, and we'll go through that in a few moments' time. But we want to hear from you. I want to know what you're thinking and feeling. We're going to go through some of your comments. James Mumford Says Terry, in my opinion, this is why we won't get top 4 if we don't get our defense and Sancho sorted. Absolutely. People are there, and teams like Tottenham are doing their absolute best to try and get themselves back into those top 4 places. It's why they're investing multiple millions of pounds of money again, but destroying this narrative that Tottenham don't spend money. It's mad that they try and spin that. That's one of them weird, ugly, crazy lies that people love to tell. It really is. Oh no, we don't spend money. We don't spend money yet. It's only you guys that spend money. We all spend money. It's relative, but we all spend money. There's no doubt about it. Thank you, Jake McAllister, for becoming an Academy member of the Football Terrace. If you click the join button now, you can sign up. We've got Academy level, squad member, first team, and legendary status at the Football Terrace. Comment here from Advice says Tottenham are going to be in the top 4 for sure. Strongest Villain says spin. Pochettino wasn't back, Terry. Oh, Pochettino signed some big players, man. Signed some big players. Broke Tottenham's transfer spend record. Relatively speaking. And it isn't always about how much you spend, it's the quality. Don't always look at it as, for me, the amount a club spends isn't the primary action of being backed. It's part of it, but it isn't all of it. Because if your club goes and drops £250 million on players and they're whack, that isn't backing you, is it? It's wasting money, which in fact damages you more, because for all but Chelsea and City, there quite literally isn't a bottomless end and supply of money. So being back, Dele Alli was an amazing signing because you bought a higher class player for low money. The same as at Liverpool. Bringing in Robertson for low money, but with high quality, is more than backing a manager. It's bringing in quality, but saving those pennies and funds to be able to renew contracts and keep people at the club. And that's another area that Pochettino has backed as compared to previous managers of the last 15 years at Tottenham. Think about all the Tottenham managers, the Martin Jolls, the Harry Redknapps, that just consistently lost their superstars because Tottenham weren't prepared to increase the wage bill to a level to keep superstars. Poch benefited from Tottenham addressing that problem. The same as Jurgen Klopp has benefited from Liverpool increasing their wage bill by 90% over the past 3 to 4 years, having hundreds of millions of pounds further outgoings for the club over those contracted periods. That is backing your manager. Do not forget that element of the game. I'm just going to do some comparisons here of Milan as well, looking at him versus Virgil van Dijk in terms of their defensive outputs over the last 5 years in league football. And I think that's a fair thing to do, to really sort of have a look at that, just to give us an idea on a statistical level of where they compare. So you look at defensively here. Defensive duels won over the last 5 years by Virgil van Dijk, 74%. Milan is currently sitting at 64%. Aerial duels, 69% won there by Virgil van Dijk, only 50% by Milan. Loose balls won by Virgil van Dijk, 64%. 56% for him, for Milan. Slide tackle success, 65% for Virgil van Dijk, only 43% for Milan. Interceptions, 5.6 for Van Dijk, 5.4. So relatively the same in that area. Balls lost in their own half. So I'd say five times a game, the man is losing the ball. 50% of that is in his own half. When it comes to Van Dijk, he actually loses it more, about 8 times per game, but only 46% in his own half. It shows you the quality there that we're talking about. Skriniar isn't at the level of Virgil van Dijk, but let's have a little look here. We'll have a look at another player. How about we compare him to Maguire? See how this comes up. I don't know how this is going to come out. Just trying to give people a bit of statistical analysis in relation to this. Let me log into this system here. Let me pick up, when it loads, man like Harry. If there's any other defenders you want to compare, what you want us to compare him to, leave your comments right now. Billy T here says, "Where's all the Chelsea fans who were here yesterday calling Havertz a flop before his hat trick? So fickle." Well, how about the Chelsea fans calling for Lampard's head after one defeat? Very, very fickle. Let's look at man like Harry here. And let's look at him over the last 5 years and look at his defensive outputs in relation to that. And of course, if they're much worse than Milan's, then I'm going to turn things off. So let's do all three together here. This is the last 5 years at top flight league football. So defensive duels won. Harry Maguire, 74%. Virgil van Dijk, 74%. Milan, 64%. Aerial duels won, 69% for Harry Maguire, 66% for Maguire, 69% for Virgil van Dijk, and only 51% there, as I mentioned, for Milan. Loose balls won. Harry Maguire is winning 60%, 64% for Van Dijk, and just a measly 56% for man like Milan. Slide tackle success, Maguire, 60%, 65% for Virgil van Dijk, and as we said, just 43% for Milan. Interceptions, Harry Maguire leads the way on 6.1, Van Dijk 5.6, and 5.4 for man like Skriniar. And again, very similar ball losses. Maguire's are 8.2, 8.002 for Van Dijk, and just 5 times per game for Milan. But how much playing out the back do Milan do in comparison? But again, Maguire's only 44% are in his own half, 46% in his own half for Maguire, for Van Dijk, but 55% there. So look, Spurs are getting a good quality centre-back. They're not getting anybody of the same class and ilk as a Harry Maguire, nobody of the same class as a Virgil van Dijk, but they are getting a very good player indeed. And who knew that over the last 5 years, defensive duels won in the top flight of the game, Harry Maguire and Van Dijk are actually on par. Not a lot of people know that, but it is very, very true. Compare him to Gabriel Manolas. Well, you can't really do that because he hasn't been playing the top leagues. He's not been in one of the top 5 leagues, but let's have a little look and see how he compares for you. Let me just type these details in. Let me get the man up here. Where is his little face? Where's his head at? There he is. So let's look at him. We'll go last 5. I don't even know if he's been playing regularly for 5 years, but we'll put it in anyway. And we'll include the Premier League's had a few games here, and we'll look at him defensively. So Gabriel, defensive duels won 69%. Aerial duels 66%. Loose balls 63%. Slide tackle success, massive 70%. Interceptions, 5 a game. Loses the ball about 8 times per game, but only 44% in his own half. So Gabriel statistically miles in front of Milan in relation to that. Van Dijk is better than Big Head. Oh, yes, he is. I'm just giving you statistical outputs. Their defensive dual succession rate over the course of the past 5 years is identical. So, yeah, that's all I said. That's all I said there. There's no more to it than that. It's just a fact. Let's look at a lot of you said let's check Joe Gomez over that same time period. Let's do that. Let's have a little look at this boy. So Gomez, 65% of his defensive duels won, 58% aerial duels, 54% loose ball duels, only 38% of his slide tackles. That's really poor in comparison. 5 interceptions per game. He loses the ball a massive 10 times a game, but only 38% of that is in his own half. We'll do Thiago Silva as the last option there to compare him. I wonder how much better Thiago Silva is than that of man like Maguire. Again, Maguire, the most maligned and disrespected centre-back in world football, really. But let's take a little butchers. Remember, this is an easier league over the last 5 years. Most would agree. But let's take a little butchers at Thiago Silva. 73% defensive duels won. Maguire's better than in there. 68% aerial duels, slightly in front of Maguire there, but of course, well in front of Milan. Loose balls won 59%, which is very, very good. Exactly the same as Harry Maguire. Slide tackle success rate, 53%. That's 5% behind Maguire. Interceptions of 5.9. Maguire is 6.1, but it's very, very close. He loses the ball 52% of the time in his own half, but only 5 times per game. So like you say, relatively the same. Isn't it amazing how you look at all these guys that are considered the best centre-backs in the world and their statistical outputs are so similar in terms of the most important element of their game, which is the defensive areas. I wouldn't even call it, I was about to call it strange, and then I decided, no, it can't be strange. It can't be strange. I know a few people have been calling. I haven't been getting the notifications through that you guys were calling. Call back. Samuel, David, Terry Tibbs, Monster, all call back. For whatever reason, I had no notification you were belling me. Call back, and I want to get you on the air, and let's discuss what we've just been through and talk about any other transfers. Someone said, I'm just sitting. I didn't know the answers were going to come out like this. And isn't it amazing that all you, Maguire is so rubbish. Then why is he statistically as good as all these other defenders? How does he fluke that being so bad? Man like Terry Tibbs is on the line. Terry, what do you want to say, my friend?
No, and just wanted to ring up, mate, and just talk about the Chelsea fans last week.
Go for it.
And then I'll move on to the links with Koulibaly and Liverpool that have been coming out recently. So, yeah, I just wanted to speak about a certain fella you'd always have on your show. Angry Kai, you call him?
Yeah.
Listen, I'm not one to sit there, but mate, that guy, I mean, he sat there and said Chelsea got a better start in 11 than Liverpool. I mean, what's he on about him? Hey, Angry Kai, if you're listening in, mate, please have a debate with me about this. I'll let you with some statistics, mate. Honestly, I mean, he can't be serious, Terry, when he says that.
I think he might be, like, seriously, I think he might be, in terms of anyone who thinks that any Premier League team has a better starting 11 when fit than Liverpool, for me, is either delusional or is saying it for attention. I can't believe, like, nobody can believe that they've got you can't have a better starting 11 than the team that are top of the league that have been killing it for 2.5. It's impossible. It's absolutely impossible.
The other thing is as well, it's for Chelsea fans as well as sitting on here and like we went out, we've bought Werner, we've bought Shai Havertz, and they bought 7 players. What makes them think they're going to do well this season?
Well, we've got Monstar on the line. Monstar believes they're going to win the league. He prays for rivals. What do you make of what Terry has said there? I mean, Monstar, first of all, do you think you've got a better starting 11 when everybody's fit than Liverpool?
1,000%. 1,000%. If we had Ziyech, if we had Pulisic, if we had Thiago Silva instead of Christensen in that defense with Zuma and even Chilwell, we would have beaten them. I put my money on it.
Well, that's a lot of money that you'd be losing. So let's talk about Thiago Silva, right? Let's look at his injury record with PSG. Let's look at what he's done. He's been in France, which is one of the worst leagues I've ever seen in my life.
Hold on. Before you just continue there, Thiago Silva's had a better career than Virgil van Dijk. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that, but we're not talking about career statistics here, Monster.
Well, you just said career. You're bringing up his time in France. So...
Yeah, but what I'm talking about is his fitness levels, right? And his injury. He's injury prone. He's in and out. He's in and out all the time. So can I ask you a question right now? Do you think Thiago Silva's better than Van Dijk?
Right now, no. I'm not even going to sit here and lie. No, I don't.
Okay. So let me just break something down for you dead quick, Monster. Yeah, because I do watch this show and I do quite like you. You do have a bit of banter, which is good. But what I want to put to you is, right, Ziyech never played in the Prem, played in Ajax, played in the Dutch league. Albeit he put up decent numbers. There's no evidence to support the fact that he's going to come over here and light up the Premier League.
But there's no evidence to support the facts that he's not.
Well, you support him, and where is he?
What's that?
Where is he right now?
He's injured.
Exactly. That's what I mean. He's injured. He's injury prone. So Ziyech is injury prone as well. Look at the games played for Ziyech. Look at the games played for Thiago Silva in the last couple of seasons. Look how many games he's actually played, and really look at the statistics. Don't just look at the fact that he's got like maybe 10 goals and 10 assists. Like for me, Pulisic is probably your best winger at the club. Yeah, he's not going to get 20 goals a season like Mane or Salah. He's probably going to get 10 goals a season at most. Ziyech,
you don't know that. Don't know that. He was injured for like half of last season and he still got 11 goals and 11 assists.
No, but I do know that for a fact because the two best wingers in the league are Salah and Mane, and no one's even coming close to their numbers on the wings. No one's
They
even.
don't have to come close to their numbers on the wing. They just have to put up enough numbers with Kai Havertz and Timo Werner, and that's good enough. We don't need the goals from our wingers like Liverpool do. We have a guy up front who can do that, which you have for me no goals, as KJ would say, who can't do that. We have the guys to do that in the middle.
But the reason why Mane and Salah get as many goals as they do, because the best false nine in the world plays for Liverpool. When he drops off and he comes into the link-up play with the midfielder, Fabinho, Henderson, Keita, whoever he plays with, his runs in behind or his through balls or whatever he does, his vision, his passing, his movement alone, the way he drags defenders out, enables Mane and Salah to get in behind. So Firmino's role in Liverpool is not to score goals, albeit he should score more. But he's the best. Tell me a false nine in the world who's better than Firmino.
I'm not saying he's not great at what he does. What he does is great. But we've watched matches so many times where Firmino's 1-on-1. He should be scoring and he continues to miss. Is all that excuses? He does this and does that. That's why he doesn't get enough goals. No, he doesn't get enough goals because he misses his chances and his finishing is terrible.
I wouldn't go as far as saying it was terrible, but I mean, I agree with you in terms of he should finish a lot more of his chances, but I wouldn't say it was terrible. But I mean, to sit there and say that because Chelsea have gone out and bought 7 new players, bear in mind they need time to gel. Bear in mind they've come to a league which is faster than the German league, the Dutch league, everything else. Games are coming thick and fast. This is going to be a season where we see an unprecedented amount of injuries for every team, because we're going to be playing 2 to 3 games per week because of COVID. No one's had the pre-season, no one's had training. So to sit there and say, this is no disrespect, Monster, but to sit there and say that number one, you've got a better squad than Liverpool, and number two, that you're going to potentially win the league, I don't even think you're going to finish in the top 4.
That's an interesting comment. We've added Prime to the stream. I mean, Prime, what do you make of what Terry said there? I mean, first of all, Monstar thinks you've got a better starting 11 when everybody's fit. I do disagree with that. I think that's on paper. There's no proof that starting 11 collectively is better. But finishing outside the top 4 for Chelsea this season, is that one likely or two? Do you think it's going to happen at all? What do you reckon, mate?
No, that's not going to happen. But the players that we brought in and the squad that we have, we should finish third. We have to finish third. If we even fourth, maybe, depending on how, if United get Sancho and get their left back and DM situation sorted, but we should at the very least finish third. If we don't, then there's going to be even more pressure.
Yeah, I mean, the fact you just said there, though, that you should at least finish third tells me that you don't believe you're better than Liverpool, because if you're better than Liverpool, then you're one thing I say with Monster, he says you're better than Liverpool, so he says that you have to finish. If you're better than them, you have to finish in front of them, right?
I said we got a better squad, yes, but do I feel we should finish in front of them? I feel with the squad we got, we probably should. We've got a better overall squad than they have. They might have a better first 11. We definitely have a better squad.
Well, squads win your leagues.
So explain. I'd like to. I understand you've just said you've got a better squad. So run through your bench with me, and run through where the basis is that you think you've got a better squad overall.
We got on the bench. We got the likes of Tammy Abraham, who scored 15 goals last season. We've got Mason Mount. I can't remember how many goals he scored last season. We've got a young Tomori, who's a really good centre-back. We've got Alonso. We've got Emerson. We've got Jorginho. Come on, do I have to keep going through the list? You don't have that quality of a better quality of a squad than we do.
Jorginho's a starting. Is in the start.
He's not starting for Chelsea. Not with the squad. Not with the new team we have. He's not.
So you don't think that he's going to start in this new starting 11? Okay. No. Well, I think he is. I think he's going to start because I don't think that your players that you bought this season, don't get me wrong, I think he's bought smartly. But, if this was 2 years from now and you're saying to me, we've got a better squad than Liverpool, we're going to finish above them, then yeah, give the players time to gel, let them settle in. But you're talking about a young lad at the age of 19 in Kai Havertz, who's come in to the fastest pace game in the world, fastest paced league in the world, in the Premier League, right? He's coming up against world class players. in Manchester City side, in Liverpool side. You know, Arsenal have looked decent at the start of the season with Mikel Arteta. You know, United are going to have a point to prove, albeit you know, they messed up against Palace. But in the big games, United always show up. They always show up.
Hold on. Chelsea with our young squad full of academy players last season. Where did we finish? We finished fourth, equal on points with third. We've now added even better now. Why can't we finish in the top four?
You overachieved massively. You overachieved. Arsenal were in transition. Man United were in transition. To a certain degree, Liverpool even overachieved. We overachieved in the sense that I don't think we'd have got that points tally that we got if everyone wasn't in transition. And that's just my honest opinion. I thought it'd have been a lot closer than what it was, because between Liverpool and City, there's not much quality difference. Like, you can say that we were the best team in the league, but we weren't. We were just the most consistent team in the league last season. And that's my opinion. Yeah, I think the best team in the league is arguably us and City. Chelsea massively overachieved.
Yeah,
Chelsea got.
I understand that, Terry. I want David's on now. We've got another Chelsea fan. They're all coming for you right now. Well, maybe they are. David, what are you saying about this conversation?
What's it? I would agree with Monster until they made all their signings. Now I feel like they have no excuse, so I expect them now to be ahead of us. So I'm obviously gonna have to change my prediction.
But still, David, overall, they don't have a better squad. If you're looking at their bench is not as good as our bench.
Monster, I agree with you. However, my thing is with Liverpool is that at what point do we stop saying that they're lucky to not get injuries and we just say that the players they scouted have a good injury record? This is my thing. I feel like this season of all seasons, right? If they go the whole season without any of their key players getting injured, that just means their players are an incredibly fit group of players. Because this season, out of any season, the squad is the most important thing. If they can go the whole season without even using half their squad, then you just have to respect it. I think our squad is stronger. I'm
not even going to sit here and lie. I still don't think Liverpool have fully addressed all of their issues, because if Van Dijk goes down, there's no one. If Salah or Mane goes down, there's still no one. Is Diogo Jota good enough, or does he play in their positions to fill in? Do you know what I mean? Does he put up enough numbers to fill those positions?
Well, I agree with you, Monty, definitely. And with Virgil van Dijk, if Virgil van Dijk goes out, we don't have anyone. I mean, Fabinho came in, and for some reason, he had one of the best games I've ever seen as a centre-back. And he had his car keys in his pocket, his phone, and Timo Werner. Funny when, do you know what I mean? But, like, in terms of what you're saying with regards to we don't have anyone as Diogo Jota good enough, of course he is. I think he's one of the most underrated players in the Premier League. He was magnificent for Wolves. 35 million for him is an absolute steal. The boy's 23. Look what Klopp has done with players that have come in. Look at Mohamed Salah, Monster, for instance. Yeah, was Salah world class when he was at Fiorentina or Roma? No,
he was better than Jota is now.
Yeah, of course he was. Yeah, but that's not to say that he couldn't develop. Look at Van Dijk at Southampton. Van Dijk at Southampton was decent. He came into Liverpool.
And then you bought him for 75 mil, so you clearly thought he was a really good defender.
Wait, why did you say that likes of Pulisic and Kai Havertz, well, they won't be able to replicate 20 goals like Mane and Salah, but yet you have such belief in Diogo Jota?
But I haven't said that Diogo Jota's going to do them numbers. I'm saying he's going to come in and do a job. Monster asked the question, was he good enough? And my answer to that is, yeah, I think he's good enough to come in and do a job. I'm not going to say that he's going to get the numbers of Mane and Salah, but I think when they go to the African Cup of Nations this year, I think he'll come in and do a job. I
don't think there's any Cup of Nations this year because of the whole COVID thing. And two, I rate Jota highly, but he's not as good as the players that you were actually linked with before, like Werner and Havertz.
No, he's not, no. But then in the same breath, once Werner and Havertz have went to use, what's left? And Diogo Jota, for me, is a good second option.
I suppose that the question is this. Well, so I'm enjoying listening to this debate, not really having a dog in the fight, really. And I feel like Jota is as good as the backup players that Chelsea have, if not better. I would sign Jota over Mason Mount any day of the week.
Well, Frank Lampard wouldn't agree with you.
Yeah, but I don't care about. Yeah, but I'm disagreeing with. I disagree with Frank Lampard. I disagree. But you guys have been moaning about Frank Lampard playing him so much, so that you guys don't rate him anyway. I would pick Jota over Mason Mount every single day of the week. Now, Divock Origi, is he? I think Divock Origi and Tammy Abraham are about the same standard of football player. Tammy's
Yeah, that's that, yeah.
I very disagree with that. Very disagree with
Tammy's
that.
still putting up numbers.
Yeah, well, Divock Origi doesn't get on the pitch because what he has in front. By the way, Tammy this season forget what people do in League Cups if you're playing weekends. So I'm talking about this season. Tammy's game time in the Premier League is going to be so reduced unless people are injured. You'll see the same issue. If Divock Origi played 35 league games if Firmino got injured tomorrow and Divock Origi played 35 league games this season and Tammy played 35 league games this season, I think Divock Origi and him would finish on similar goals. I
disagree.
But and that's fine. And listen, you can disagree. We can never prove it, so it's not worth fighting. But I don't think that the Divock Origi, and maybe I'm biased because he's one of my old clients. I don't think as a football player overall, I don't think there's a huge gulf between Tammy and Divock. Even if you think he's better, he isn't light years or levels in front of Divock Origi or vice versa. They are very similar standards to me.
I mean, he played. I mean, he did play. There is a season here for Liverpool where he's played 34 games in the league and he's got 7 goals and 3 assists.
Yeah, how long ago was that?
Like 3 years ago.
Yeah,
exactly. And
ever since then he hasn't played any football.
He was older and more experienced than Tammy was.
Yeah, and I get that, and I do get that, and that's a fair cop. That's an absolute fair cop. You know, like I said about Tammy though, barring a 3-game period where he scored 7 goals, and you can't take that away from him because he did score those 7 goals. If you look at his record after that, it averages like a goal every 2 months. Like he hasn't proven to me that little purple patch was a little purple patch. Then look at other things like Divock Origi scored 2 of the most clutch goals in Liverpool's history of the last 30 years, and we've all agreed that clutch can equal other things. The point I'm making is Liverpool's first 11 stronger, and until Chelsea prove their squad is better by finishing in front of Liverpool, you can't make that statement. On paper, it don't mean anything. Expectation is there, but there's no proof to anything that's being said because you don't know how any of these players are going to play in the Premier League. You don't know how Tammy's going to react to being a backup player compared to being in the first team. Tammy might be the kind of guy that needs a long run of games to keep his form where it needs to be. Maybe Divock Origi's that guy. I don't know. I'm just saying the claim that you're better than Liverpool is mad. It's mad.
I don't think we're better than them now. Before the signings, I thought there's a chance that we could be.
No, I never said we're better.
My personal thing has never been Chelsea being better than Liverpool. My thing has been improve on your squad depth because that could have been an issue. Now that they clearly are the best team in the league, and
Liverpool have more than improved it. The left back Thiago and Jota have just given it's a new dimension, a new depth that they didn't have last year, which makes it even harder for it. They've now got one of the top 2 or 3 set like proper central midfielders in the league. Maybe even the best. Maybe even the best in the cold light of day, and we'll see. The closest
5 midfielders in the world. Thiago.
Yeah, we have now got the closest thing we've had since the greatest ever midfielder in the Premier League retired in Paul Scholes, and that is when you. And what I love about the Thiago thing is Liverpool fans are going to start to see exactly why Man United fans rated Scholes at the top, because you're just gonna. I saw like all these compilations of all these passes he was doing in training. I'm like, yeah, that's what we talk about. Scholes about like this man used to be able to hit a tree from 60 yards away or what, like it's just the ability to pull off a pass that other people can't even see.
Wait, Terry, can I just say something?
Yeah.
Do you see what I want to call out a hypocrisy in what is it Terry, the guy that's on the phone? His name's Terry,
yes, his name's Terry.
Terry said. Terry, you just said Ziyech is injury prone and blah blah and this and that. I swear Thiago's injury prone as well. What's your argument with that?
Well, the last couple of the last 4 years he's played 34 games each season for Bayern Munich, as well as playing competition games in the Bayern Munich in the cup in Germany. So he's played a total. I think I can't remember off the top of my head. Terry might have to Google it, but I think over the last couple of seasons, I think he's played like 43 games a season without injury. And let's not forget, Bayern Munich are probably, have you seen their squad? Do you know what I mean? Like they can afford to rotate.
True. But have you not also said that the Premier League is much harder as well and it tends to play in? Because that's
It
the
is, yeah.
argument you made about Ziyech
So
being
yeah, so
injury
you
prone.
made that about Ziyech, but you're not making that about Thiago.
You're missing the point here. The fact is, you can talk about Thiago being injured. We've bought him and he's fit. Where is Ziyech? He's injured. You've bought him injured.
Well, no, we didn't buy him injured.
No, he
You
got
did
injured
buy
in a friendly. He got
No,
injured
we
in a friendly.
didn't.
He was
Got injured
injured.
in the
There
We
we
bought
go.
him. He had his medical. He's still injured.
No, he got injured
No,
for
we
us
didn't
in a
buy
friendly
him.
against Brighton.
So it's a case of, it's like the other point that I wanted to make as well about Chelsea and about what you say about Frank Lampard is every single one of you, David, Monster, I forgot the young lady's name.
Anita.
What was her name?
Anita.
Anita, that's it, yeah. You don't like Frank Lampard. You do not like Frank Lampard. You
That's not
guys,
true. That isn't true. That's not true.
Where'd
I
you
just
get that
disagree.
from?
No,
I just disagree with some of his decisions.
David,
That's
let
it.
him land. Why exactly don't we like Frank Lampard?
because I've heard you all saying that you don't like Frank Lampard on the show. I
Oh,
tune in
I've
every
never said
single-
that, bro.
We've literally said that.
I've never said that. I don't know where you got that from.
So you have never said that you don't like Frank Lampard.
No,
No.
I don't know where you got that from.
I've seen what I have seen. I maybe Terry's maybe misheard a little bit. I've seen Lampard get questioned by most of you at some point, especially Kai. Kai definitely at the weekend stated that maybe Lampard has got the tools are too big for him to handle. Essentially, is what he said. So that has been said on the channel. I know that Anita has definitely called him out for playing Mason Mount and not playing Hudson. So there've been elements of him that have been called out in terms of not liking him or not thinking he's a good enough manager. I haven't heard that in abundance, so I have to say neutral there.
Every I'm sure at some point every club has done that. I mean, Guardiola's being questioned for his decisions against Lyon, and he's one of the greatest managers of all time. So that's just
Do you know what I love about this? This is actually a Tottenham stream, and it's just been dominated by Chelsea. But we open the phone lines. People can come on and have say. I want to ask you guys all a quick question before we end. Milan Skriniar to Tottenham. How good a signing do you think that is, Terry? And how much does it improve Tottenham?
Well, no one really cares about Tottenham, do they? But it's a case of, I mean, he's mediocre, isn't he? At best. Mediocre.
Come on.
Mediocre player. Jose Mourinho. Personally, I think he used to be one of the greatest managers ever. I hope he can get back to being a great manager because at the minute I don't think he is. But that's partly not down to his fault as well. I think some of the players don't want to play for him. And I just think he's made a few wrong decisions. But in terms of the transfer, do I think it's going to elevate Tottenham to another level? Do I think that they're going to push for the top four? Nah. I think top six at best. I think your top four, you're probably looking at Liverpool, City, United, Chelsea, Arsenal, and that's about it. I think it's between them.
Sorry, can I just speak on Skriniar?
Yeah, go for it, bro.
I disagree with Terry. I think Skriniar's a good player, man. The only problem is his pace. But if you combine him with Davinson Sanchez, I think it can be a great partnership. And I think he in the hands of Mourinho could be really, really dangerous. Do you know what I mean? So people, a lot of people are questioning, because he was dropped by Conte. But that wasn't because of him being a bad player. That was because, just Conte did, falling out with players, same way him and Diego Costa did with at Chelsea. So, yeah.
Yeah, I hear that. I think this. I think he's a good player. I think he's going to improve Tottenham's backline. He's better than what a lot of what they have. Statistically, from a defensive point of view, he's not in the class of a Thiago Silva, a Maguire, a Van Dijk. But who knows? Sometimes you can move to a club. I mean, the difference. Look at the difference between Van Dijk when you compare him at Southampton to Liverpool. The move elevated him. I think sometimes it really depends upon the attitude of a player and how they embrace something. And who knows how he's going to do. He's definitely an improvement on what they've got. I think he becomes. Obviously, he's not as good as Toby was at his peak, but he'll be the best defender at Tottenham, and they need that. I think, though, what it does do, put a lot more pressure on Tottenham and Jose to perform because that's a new left back, a new right back, a new centre back, a new midfielder, Gareth Bale returning. That's 5 new signings to that squad. And there's even talk of another striker coming in as well, the Polish lad.
Yeah, Milik from
Milik.
Napoli.
Yeah, you had Milik into that as well. Suddenly Spurs are only one signing away from matching what Chelsea have done. Now, they haven't had a marquee player in terms of a Havertz, in terms of the size of the money. But Gareth Bale is every bit as potent. It's just that they've got him on loan. But do you get what I mean? So if you're going to put pressure on Chelsea for signing 6-7 new players, if Tottenham land both of them, the pressure has to be there in the same way. Unless, Spurs fans may disagree, but then that's what big clubs do. Big clubs have pressure heaped upon them when they make these big signings.
Spurs have been down this road before when they sold Gareth Bale for 85 million and went out and bought Lamela and all that. You know what I mean? And he went out and how many players did he buy that summer? I think he bought
like 7 or 8.
6 or 7. And what happened? He didn't gel and he were absolutely awful and he wasted.
Yeah, because they didn't
you guys
didn't buy the right players, did they?
Yeah, but they bought poor quality players.
But you guys neglect the factor of Jose Mourinho. That's one thing everyone keeps writing off. I would never write him off. I think he still will be a problem. I think he still will.
I mean, yeah. But the point I was making about that before you said something there. My point was back then when they were linked with them players, Eric Lamela was touted as one of the next best things. These were players that were all touted as the next best players, and they were putting up big numbers in the respective countries that they were at, and they were all highly rated by a lot of managers. It's just Tottenham got them over the line because they had the money. That's what I'm saying. I mean,
player that Spurs bought in that time that I remember being touted was Soldado.
No, Eric Lamela was a wonder kid. He was 110% was regarded in that way. We had a super chat here from Kid City, Man City fan that tunes in, says Liverpool spin at it again. Thiago started less than 29 games last season. He only played because of injuries as well. I don't know how true that is. I mean, Bayern Munich wanted to keep him. Starting at 29 games is probably a fact. I don't know about only played because other people were injured. I'm not too sure. But listen, gentlemen, I appreciate you all coming on and having your say as always. Do me a big, big favor, please. Not a problem. Hit the like and share button, everyone who was tuned in. 9 o'clock tonight, Arsenal versus Liverpool preview. We've got Grizz and we have LFC Day Trippers joining us from the Liverpool side of things. And we have Turkish from AFTV, Curtis from AFTV and AFTV FC joining the show. Igal will be on, Adam will be on, and we will be throwing some of our normal panelists in later on. But Arsenal, this is such an interesting preview tonight because Liverpool have to be the clear favourites. But could it be 3 defeats on the bounce for Liverpool versus Arsenal? I cannot even remember the last time that happened in football, where Arsenal won 3 games. I know they drew the last and won on. Did they win on penalties in the Community Shield?
In the Community Shield.
But they won the game. 3 wins on the bounce. I cannot remember the last time Arsenal beat a top 6 side.
I think Liverpool do pose Arsenal pose a big threat to
No, they do. And that's why the preview is going to be important tonight, because I can't remember the last time Arsenal beat a top 6 side 3 games running. That 3 times they played them running. Does that make sense? I can't remember the last time that happened.
Flying high at the minute, aren't they? So they're going to be a threat. They're flying high. They've got quality up front. Arteta's got them playing some decent football. Even the young kids are having a go and getting stuck in as well. So it's going to be an interesting game, and I'll be tuning in tonight to the preview. So I'll be watching.
Appreciate that.
I'm going to have to shoot now, lads. Got work to do. Listen, Chelsea boys, good talking to you. Thanks for the debate, lads.
Lovely.
No worries.
Cheers. Take care, boys. Appreciate it. Thank you all for coming on. Everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. See you at 9 p.m.